Hello everyone. Today I am here to discuss a brief about plate tectonics theory. I'll be giving you brief introduction about what plate tectonics theory is and how we studied it. Plate tectonics theory. In 1960s, it was postulated by Professor Harry Hess. Professor Harry Hess postulated it while explaining a concept of sea floor spreading, which is considered to be as one of the evidence of plate tectonics. However, the plate tectonics term was first used by a Canadian geologist, John Tuzo Wilson. In short, we also referred it as J.T. Wilson. In the year 1965. Then some other geologists like in the year 1967, Parker and Mackenzie. They also further elaborated it, and in 1967, Morgan further elaborated this concept. So this was the first part, how this plate tectonics as a term evolved. The credit goes to John Tuzo Wilson, who first introduced this term. The question is what plate tectonics is. Plate is a technical name. Term use kar lo, name, technical term used to define two hard lithospheric slabs. Now what is lithosphere? Lithosphere. It means sphere of rocks. Sphere of rocks. We have two types of the lithosphere. One is continental lithosphere. Another is oceanic lithosphere. Lithosphere constitutes crust, which is the outer shell, outermost shell of Earth, having two parts, continental crust and oceanic crust, plus hard brittle part of upper mantle. So lithosphere is crust, that is the outer shell of the earth, continental crust, oceanic crust, along with the brittle part of upper mantle. Like if you give an example, this to be continental crust. If I consider here below the water, this is oceanic crust. So here this part is your continental crust, assume. And let's talk about this part to be the oceanic crust. So it means oceanic crust is thinner, continental crust is thicker. Clear? Continental crust thickness varies from mountains to plains. Like Himalayas and all, it have maximum thickness. And this is your oceanic crust. So remember, continental crust and oceanic crust, they lie adjacent to each other, not below each other. Earlier notion was there, above there is continental crust, below there is oceanic crust. But that is not true. We have continental and oceanic crust, they lie adjacent to each other. Where this crust ends, there below is mantle. So this uppermost part of the mantle, which is also in solid state, along with this, it is called as lithosphere. So this is continental crust. This is oceanic crust. And what are both in solid state. And this is uppermost part of mantle, upper mantle. Rest the divisions of this internal structure of the earth that you're going to study in your interior of earth. So this is called as lithospheric slab. And below this is another part of the mantle where the rocks are semi-molten in state, which is called as asthenosphere. What is this particular part called as? Asthenosphere. Yeah. This is also the part of upper mantle, but here rocks are in semi-molten state. When we talk about asthenosphere, it is a Greek term. Astheno means weak. Sphere. So it is the sphere of weak rocks. So above this asthenosphere, the lithosphere floats. The lithosphere moves over this asthenosphere. Clear? So what is plate? Plate is the technical term used to describe the two hard lithospheric slabs, that is continental lithosphere and oceanic lithosphere, which is moving or floating over the asthenosphere. Now another part here is plate tectonics theory is studied in two parts. One is called as kinematic part. Another is called as geometric part. Kinematic part deals with the movement of plates. So kinematic part deals with the movement of plates. It is related to kinetic energy. What is kinetic energy? Energy gained due to virtue of motion. This is kinetic energy. Hope it is clear. Geometric part deals with the type and distribution of plates. There are three types of the movements. One is called as convergence. Another is called as divergence. And third is your transformative movement. Let me first talk about geometric part. Let's first talk about the types. Several geologists have given the classification, but La Pichan in 1960s have classified these plates into major plates, minor plates, and then there is one micro plate. Major plates, minor plates, and micro plates. I'll explain them one by one. Type of the plate, one is called as primary plate. Another is called as secondary plate. And third is there called as tertiary plate. So we have three plates: primary, secondary and tertiary. The same are here as major plate, minor plate and micro plates. Let's discuss them one by one. Now, what major plate means? You will remember any plate which has surface area, any plate with surface area greater than 20 million square kilometer. Such plate is referred as primary plate or major plate. Like, we have several examples for it. Pacific plate, African plate, American plate, Eurasian plate, etc. So it means all those plates which have surface area greater than 20 million square kilometer, they are called as primary plates or major plates. After that, we have another which is minor plate. Minor plates are all those plates who have area less than 20 million square kilometer but greater than 1 million square kilometer. Such plates are called as minor plates. And micro plate, any plate which is having area less than 1 million square kilometer. That is referred as microplate. Some of the examples of minor plate are Arabian plate, Sunda plate, Somalian plate, etc. So there are many more. Some of the examples of microplate are like micro Burma plate, Adriatic plate, Okinawa plate, Banda plate, etc. But understand, our major focus should be on the major plate and minor plate. Now question is, major plate do we understand, how can this minor and micro plate be formed? Now listen, as per the geologist, if any major plate breaks and if its area is less than 20 million square kilometer but greater than 1 million square kilometer, it will be minor plate. And if any major plate breaks and the area of the broken plate is less than 1 million square kilometer, that plate will be micro plate. Or maybe any minor plate is there. If any part of the minor plate breaks and if its area goes less than 1 million square kilometer, that can become micro plate. Is it clear? So a major plate, if it breaks and if its area is less than 20 million square kilometer but greater than 1 million square kilometer, that will be called as minor plate. But If minor plate also breaks and if its area goes less than 1 million square kilometer, that can become microplate. And if any major plate breaks and the broken part area is less than 1 million square kilometer, that can be also considered to be microplate. Done? So this is type of plates. After that you have distribution of plates. Distribution means how these plates are distributed over the globe. Now before I go to distribution part, you will remember a plate can be continental, a plate can be oceanic, and plate can have both part continental and oceanic. So let's discuss them one by one. I hope this map is visible to all of you. Okay. If we talk about some of the major plates, let me first come here. Major plates. And then there will be some minor plates. Six are major plate. And 9 are their minor plates. What does star mark mean? Now we have more than 9. In major plates, if we talk about, we have Pacific plate. It is the largest among the all and purely an oceanic plate. So what is completely oceanic plate? Then you have another Eurasian plate. Majority part of the Eurasian plate is continental, but it has some part oceanic also. Like north, if you talk about towards the Arctic or towards the northeast of Atlantic. But what is major part here? Continental. Similarly, if you talk about African plate, African plate again majority part of the continental, but it has some part oceanic also. North American plate, again the part has majority continental part, but there is oceanic part also. It is divided into two, North American plate and South American plate. After that you have another which is called as Indo-Australian plate. This plate is again continental as well as oceanic. We have another plate here which is Antarctica plate. So total you have these major plates, one Pacific, second Eurasian, third African, then North American, Indo-Australian and Antarctica plate. Minor plates again, among the minor plates, you have Juan de Fuca plate, you have Cocos plate, you have Caribbean Sea plate, we have Nazca plate, which is also called as East Pacific rise. We have Scotia plate, there is another called as Arabian plate, Philippines Sea plate, Bismarck plate. Now this Bismarck has broken into two parts, North Bismarck and South Bismarck. Caroline plate, So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. You will remember two plates more. One is called as Sunda plate, and then we have micro Burma plate. Sunda was initially considered to be the part of Eurasian plate to the Southeast Asia, acting as a continental shelf of Eurasia. But later it was seen that Sunda is moving separately. So it means had Sunda being the part of Eurasia, this whole plate should together move. Now if this plate is individually moving, geologists believe that two possibilities can be there. Either since from the beginning it was a separate plate but no motion was observed, or now it has broken and is moving separately. So this is division of these plates, major to minor. I've not gone to the micro one. Now we understood here the definition of the plate. Let me explain plate tectonics. Plate is a technical name given to the two hard lithospheric slabs. The nature of the plate, the movement of the plate, and the resultant outcome is plate tectonics. This whole movement operates under the convection of the heat going in the mantle, which results into slab pull and ridge push. So what we mean by this nature of the plate? A plate can be continental, a plate can be oceanic, or a plate can be both continental as well as oceanic. Nature, size is also part of a nature. A plate can be very big in size, major plate. It can be medium in size, minor plate, and it can be very small, which is called as microplate. Movement. Science explains three types of the movement. Either two plates will meet with each other, convergence. Either they will move away, divergence. Or these plates move parallel to each other in opposite direction, called as transformative movement. Now let's go towards this map. This is North American plate, South American plate, Eurasian plate. This is Arabian plate, this one. And this is whole big African plate. This is India, this is Australia, Indo-Australian plate. This is continental, this is continental. In between, oceanic. And this is your Pacific plate. This is also the part of Pacific plate. So what are all these major plates? I will repeat again. Among the major you have North American plate, South American plate, together called as American plate, Eurasian plate, African plate, Indo-Australian plate, Pacific plate, and this one you have here in the south, Antarctica plate. Clear? Then if we move towards the minor plates, you have there Juan de Fuca plate, see. Then you have here Cocos plate. Opposite to that, this one Caribbean Sea plate. Here you have another Nazca plate. Here you have Scotia plate. Not given here. After that, this part is Arabian plate. This is Philippine Sea plate. This is Australia. This is the island called as New Papua Guinea Island. Here you have a sea, Bismarck Sea. This is called as Bismarck Sea plate. Now this is Northern Bismarck, this is Southern Bismarck. And here in this part you have Caroline plate. So this is the division. Now here if we particularly talk about this part is the Sunda plate. What is this part? Sunda plate. And this part here is Micro Burma plate. So if I have to remember these plates, this is Pacific, Philippines, this is Caroline plate, Australia, New Guinea Island, remember here, Bismarck Sea, so Bismarck plate, this to be as Sunda plate, this part to be as Micro Burma plate, this is Indo-Australia as a whole. Like if you move towards this part also, ये वाला part. This is called as Yangtze plate here. There are a lot of such plates, Okinawa, Yangtze. So let's talk about the major one here. Now remember, Juan de Fuca, oceanic plate, Cocos plate, oceanic plate, Nazca plate, oceanic plate, Arabian plate. This part, Saudi Arabia is there. Here it is Yemen. Here it is Oman, UAE, and Qatar. This is continental. And this part in the Red Sea, and this part here, it is oceanic. So what is majority part here? Continental, and some part is there oceanic also. Similarly, Sunda plate, this majority of the part is here oceanic, but this part where it passes through this Southeast Asia, ye wala part, it makes it continental. But what is majority part here? Oceanic. So there are many more such plates, but let's talk about the main plates here. Clear? So this is the geometric part which deals with the type and distribution of plates. Distribution means how these plates are spreaded or placed over the globe. Now you have kinematic part, in which we have kinematic part which deals with the movement of plates. While these plates move, they interact with each other. While these plates move, they interact with each other. What I mean by this, before I go to the movement part, so kinematic part here deals with the movement of the plates. Three types of the movements are there. One is convergence, also called as convergent plate boundary. Another is divergence, called as divergent plate boundary. And third is transformative or conservative plate boundary. It means in convergence, two plates will converge with each other. Divergence, plate will move away from each other. And in transformative, plates will slide parallel to each other in opposite directions. Can I say in this part of the convergence, compressional force will be active? In this part, there will be tensional force active. So what is this compression? Compression is a force which is acting from opposite ends to common point. Tensile forces from a common point, this force is acting in opposite direction like this. When we do namaste, compression. If I make my hands to move away, that is tensional. Now the question is what this plate boundary means. Or plate margin. Both are used interchangeably. Plate boundary and plate margin are used interchangeably. But yes, there is a very thin line difference. Plate boundary means where plates meet and interact. So we call it active boundary also. Plate margin is the end of the plate which may or may not be active, tectonically active. Let me give one example. Assume here it is plate A and it is plate B. When I'm talking about the margins of this plate, these all are the margins of this plate. These are the margins of plate A and B. Assume if this plate is moving in this direction, which two margins will interact? This one. Here these two plates will interact with each other. So what will this become? Plate boundary. Am I clear? So what are these? Margins. Wherever they interact, what is that? Boundary. Maybe any other plate is coming like this. Here in this part is the margin of the plate. If this plate is moving in this direction and it meets with here, so this part will be called as plate boundary. Is this clear? Hope it is clear. So when we first talk about convergent plate boundary, in convergent plate boundary, three types of the movements are there. One is continental and continental convergence. It means two continental plates will meet with each other. Like Indian plate converging with Eurasian plate. What will be the resultant outcome? That we'll discuss separately. Another will be continental and oceanic convergence. Like here in this figure, this is the continental plate and this one is here oceanic plate. If South American plate and Nazca plate will converge, this will be continental oceanic. If Indian plate, this part is continental, converge with Eurasian plate, it will be continental continental. Clear? And then there can be one more, which is ocean convergence. Here if Philippine Sea plate and Sunda plate converge, what is this? Ocean convergence. Got it? Similarly, we have another there called as divergent plate boundary. There are two types of divergent plate boundaries observed till now. One is called as continental divergence. Another is there oceanic divergence. How this all operates, that we will discuss in another lecture. So when we talk about continental divergence, if I have to give one example here, let me take this example of Africa. Now, in this Africa, there has been divergence on the east of Africa, which is called as East African Rift Valley, which has divided this African, which is a major plate, into two plates. कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है इसमें divergence. This is called as Nubian plate. This one is called as Somalian plate. Hope now it is clear. If a major plate breaks, let's say Somalian plate, when breaks, it becomes your micro plate. So ocean divergence, let's say mid-oceanic ridge in Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Ocean. What are these ridges? How are they formed? That we will discuss later. Similarly, we have another called as transformative plate boundary. It is of three types. One is called as trench to trench. We need to understand what this trench to trench means. Second is ridge to trench. And third is ridge to ridge. So this is basically what plate tectonics theory is. Now yes, there is what will happen when two continental plates will converge, continental ocean will converge, ocean will converge, and what will be the processes. Similarly, if there is a continental divergence like East Africa Rift Valley has been formed, how this has operated, when this began. Similarly, if two oceanic plates gonna diverge, or in transformative movement, what does this trench to trench, ridge to ridge means, that we will discuss in another class. It was just a very basic understanding about what plate tectonics theory is, how we study the plate tectonics theory, not the processes involved. Thank you.